Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my kitchen again. I've got a couple of things going on in the kitchen today, but I am taking some time to make some bone stock to restock our pantry, and I figured I'd bring you guys along, so let's make some bone stock. So a lot of people, whenever they go to quickly make a bone stock, they may not know, but you can add a lot of flavor to your stock just by roasting your bones as well as your vegetables. It plays off of that Maillard effect that you get whenever you brown your food, and it adds flavor to your stock. So what we're gonna do today, I'm gonna get my vegetables cut up, which is carrots, celery, and onions. I usually just use whatever I have on hand. So if I've got some leftover leek tops that I held on to from using leeks prior, I throw those in there and I will roast those. We're also gonna put some garlic in there. I'm gonna do a whole head of garlic, get that roasted as well. If I've got shallots, I'll put that in there too. It's kind of just a hodgepodge. I just throw whatever I've got flavor wise. And then for my spices and added aromatics, just to give it extra flavor, I use bay leaves, I use peppercorns, which are kind of the typical things. I'm not doing anything that's brand new. A couple of things that you may not have heard of. I like to add kombu to my stocks, whether I'm doing just a regular chicken stock or I'm doing a bone stock. Kombu is an Asian seaweed that comes off of the Japanese coast, and this is what it looks like. It is dried. When this goes into the stock, it's gonna reconstitute and it's gonna swell. So this, from this size, it's gonna get huge. Funny story, one time when we were first using kombu in one of our stocks, Will was like, wow, that's not very much, and the recipe called probably for less than this, but we were supposed to use less than that. Will was like, oh no, that doesn't make any sense, so we ended up throwing in like 4 of those, and we were literally just pulling it out, just fishing it out essentially is what ended up happening. So take a lesson from us, don't do that. This is honestly a little more than what's necessary, but what I like a lot about kombu, 2 things. It has great flavor, and it's also another added nutrient dense food that you can put into your stock. So a really great way of giving your stock a lot of flavor is to roast your bones. Today here I have pork bones. To me, it doesn't really matter what kind of bones you're putting in your stock. I know there's a lot of people that would say it does matter because there's going to be a difference in flavor, but honestly, a bone stock for me is about nourishment. We picked up these bones from our friends, Bowers Farms, that are within the community as we are. And once we have roasted these off in our 400-degree oven, we're gonna get them a nice golden brown color. We'll take them out of the oven, and then we will coat them in some tomato paste, which is what's really gonna give us that bold flavor. Once they're coated in the tomato paste, we're gonna put them back into the oven and then roast them a little longer just to give the tomato paste a chance to brown up a little bit. So I'm gonna set my timer for about maybe 10 minutes, so that way I can be reminded to come and just check on them, see what they're looking like. Because I don't really want to tell you a time, because I honestly don't know how long. Most of the cooking that I do in my kitchen, I'm doing things by a look. I'm doing them by a smell. I'm cooking things to a certain sound, which are definitely tools that you need in a kitchen, working in any kitchen, whether you're in a commercial kitchen or your own private kitchen. So yeah, we're, like I said, I've got these on a timer for about 10 minutes. I was telling you about convection heat. Convection heat is a drier heat, so it chars things up pretty quickly. So that's why I do things for the most part based on a look instead of a certain time, like a lot of recipes will tell you. So we'll give these a check out in about 10 minutes and we'll see where we're at. For inquiring minds, I have a little bit of pickled okra that I'm doing over here in this second pot. Nothing to do with the stock, just a little extra something going on in the kitchen today. We're also going to roast our vegetables because, again, we want that maximum Maillard effect as we can going into our stock for flavor. Had to put it in a bigger bowl, so it's a little bit small of a bowl to toss. We're just going to do a couple of healthy pinches of salt. I like to use avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point, so it won't burn on you too quickly. And I just give them a toss around. Parchment paper. And we're not necessarily trying to like cook them through. We just want them to get a nice roasting on them. And we'll pop these in the oven, same way we did with the bones. Ooh, they are already going. Looking good. And since the bones have been in there a little longer than the vegetables going in, then we will check on those the same time and see how they're looking. I don't think I'll put any tomato paste on the vegetables. I have in the past, but it's kind of unnecessary, at least it is to me. Just put it either on your bones or your vegetables. And there goes the timer for our bones. Let's check them out. We gotta let some of that steam escape off. Ooh, they are looking good. Oh yes. So I think right here I'm going to add the tomato paste, let them cool for just a second. I forgot to add garlic. So I'm going ahead, I like to crush mine. I know they always say whole garlic, but I just give it a quick crushing. Not a terrible mistake, but I'm glad I caught it when I did because garlic makes a huge difference in your stocks. At least they do to me. It does to me. I love the flavor of garlic. Give them a quick coating of tomato paste. I don't go too crazy because I'm going to coat all of them. And I'm just going to give it to them on one side. I'm going to pop this on broil for just a moment. See some of the marrow coming out a little bit. You don't have to do your stocks like this. I just like to do this because it gives better flavor. And you know, I know I said that my bone stocks for me are about nutrient density. They are, but why not add extra flavor if you can? All right. Cooled off pretty good. My bones are going to be ready way before my vegetables will be, which is fine. It's really the bones that need to cook for a really long time. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to pop this on broil for just a moment. Get that tomato paste nice and roasted. And then we'll pop it into the water I have getting heated over here. While we are getting our bones and vegetables roasted, we're gonna go ahead and add all of the other aromatics. I've got a bunch of fresh clipped thyme. I am just throwing it into the pot. And full of peppercorns, black peppercorns, red pepper flakes, because why not add a little spice to your life? Bay leaves. Now these are dried, or picked and dried from our friend that lives up the road, Mr. Kibler, who you've heard us talk about a couple of times here on our channel. I am just gonna pop them in here. I'll do about 4 for a stock. The next one is probably not very well known by many people, but Will here on the channel has harvested so many wild mushrooms. These woodier mushrooms I have found are great for stocks. Not only do they hold up really well in these long duration stocks, but they add really great medicinal content to your food. They don't have a flavor, so they don't really flavor the stock, but again, it's the medicine that I'm looking for. So we're just gonna throw them on in here. And did maybe about 5 or 6 in there. And then last but not least, kombu. Check on the bones here. Oh yeah, they're looking good. Exactly what we're looking for. What I'm gonna do here is take a little bit of this water, our stock, just to deglaze our pan a little bit. We are going to pour this right back in there. All of these little cooked on bits in here going in there. Put this on in here. Check on our vegetables, which are probably close to being done. Like I said, this convection heat is awesome. But yeah, they're looking good. I do just a little bit longer. I flip that onion as it's getting a little extra brown on those tips. I'm also going to pour in just a touch of apple cider vinegar. And our vegetables are probably done. I just did about 2 or 3 more minutes. There we go. That's the char we are looking for. Gently ease these guys in here. We don't want any splashing. And there we have it. A beautiful bone stock in the baking. I am going to cover this just and have it askew on there. Get that to a simmer. I'll probably even move it away from that eye, because the eye that I have it on the stove is a really hot one. So I'm probably going to move it to one of these other smaller burners, so that way this can go about 24 hours. I'd like for it to go at least 18, but we'll see what we can do. It shouldn't be an issue. So we've got our stock doing a very light simmery bubble on our stovetop, and we're gonna let that go. I'd like for it to go for about 24 hours, but if I can get 18 out of it, I'll be pleased. So I kind of wanted to just sit down and talk about what's the point? Why do we go the extra mile and make our own stock when we could easily just go buy it from the store? Unfortunately, whether you're buying stock from the store or you're using stock that you have in your own pantry that you've made from scratch yourself, nutrients and flavor depreciate over time. So, you know, the first lesson of that story, if you're making your own stock, plan to use it fairly quickly, especially if you're not pressure canning it, which is what I do plan to do with this tomorrow. Once this finishes, I'll get it jarred up in quart jars and then I'll pressure can it. But with all that being said, even though I'm pressure canning this and it'll sit on my shelf for probably a couple of years and still be good, it won't taste the same if I go to pop it open and use it in a month. That's how quickly your flavor depreciates with time. But also your nutrient density is also going to depreciate with time, because where there's flavor, there is nutrient density. I think that having the skills to make a stock of any kind, whether it's a vegetable stock, a chicken or beef stock, or a bone stock, I think those are really important skills to have. Not only because of nutrient density, but you can really change the flavor profile of a meal just by having your own stock. Something that we make a lot here in our house is risotto. And I've made it for a few people here and there, and everyone that has eaten my risotto is blown away. And really, it's not really a secret, but something that's not very well known in making risotto is make your own stock. If you go to make a risotto, you want to start with a stock of any kind first. Start with a basic chicken stock, and it will be that much better from making your own stock instead of going to the store and making risotto from store-bought stock. And it's not to say you can't do that. I have done that before, and the difference is there. And you'll notice it very quickly between the difference of using store-bought stock versus using a stock that you've made yourself to make your risotto. I always think there's a quote that's said several times in the movie The Patriot. They use this comment when they're remarking on the children and how much they've grown, or their temperament and their personality. And they always say they're from good stock. If you lay the foundation in your kitchen, in your food, with great ingredients, with the intention of bringing medicine into your life and other people's lives, it will always be flavorful, but you will always make good stock. Your food will always be highly flavorful because you've made it from good stock. If you're doing this on the stove, this is the very low simmering bubble that you're looking for. You don't want it bubbling too much because it will begin to evaporate away from your stock, and you'll have to eventually add water back to your stock. But this ensures that it's not going to bubble over, but it also is at the perfect heat, so that way it can pull all of the nutrients and marrow out of the bones. But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you guys like this video, and you like seeing how I did my bone stock, I can do another video and show you how I do my chicken stock. My chicken stock has a lot of the basic aromatics and vegetables that go into a chicken stock, but there's a couple of other things that I add into my stock that you just won't find in a store-bought stock. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed this video, and if you would like for me to do a video on my chicken stock. Until next time, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today.